Picture this, a grand banquet in your honor. Golden chandeliers flicker above the hall. Long tables are piled high with roasted meats and sweet wines, and the sound of laughter echoes against marble walls. Every goblet rises in toast to you, the queen, radiant and untouchable at the head of the feast. But here's the chilling twist. Every sip, every smile, every long live the queen is secretly a rehearsal for your downfall. Before we unravel this dangerous game of power together, take a second to like this video, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from, and subscribe to the channel. Only if you are brave enough to sit at this cursed royal table with me. Now let us begin. History is filled with such banquets turned betrayals. Consider Caesar, not a queen but a ruler nonetheless, stabbed not on the battlefield but surrounded by supposed friends. Or think of Anne Boleyn, whose last feast was not a celebration but the calm before the axe. The lesson is clear. In courts of power, laughter and loyalty can both be poisoned. Now imagine you, dressed in silk, every jewel on your crown catching the candlelight. To your right, your most trusted advisor raises a glass with a smile too perfect. To your left, a knight who swore his sword to your service shifts uncomfortably, as if torn between duty and ambition. The air smells of honeyed wine, yet underneath lingers the metallic tang of treachery. Would you dare to take another bite, knowing the next course could be betrayal itself? And here's where myth collides with history. In Norse sagas, it was said that feasts often attracted not just guests but spirits who fed on lies. Maybe your betrayal is not just human. It is haunted, woven into the very walls of your palace. Maybe the reason your courtiers laugh so loudly is because they are already celebrating your end. Creepy thought, right? But hey, at least you would not have to worry about counting calories if the dessert comes with a side of treason. Power has always been dazzling, has not it? To rule as queen means to walk through halls where every step echoes like thunder, to sit on a throne carved from centuries of ambition, and to have your words ripple across a kingdom like waves on the sea. People bow, trumpets blare, and your name is etched into history. Sounds pretty good, right? But here's the secret history never forgets to whisper. Every jewel on your crown is also a target on your head. Think about it. Cleopatra's charm was not enough to shield her from betrayal. Elizabeth I wore the crown but lived in constant fear of assassination. Catherine the Great expanded an empire, but she too was surrounded by whispers, daggers, and poison cups. Being queen looks glamorous, but it is basically like starring in the deadliest reality show in history. One wrong alliance and boom, season finale with your head on the chopping block. Now, picture yourself in this role. You command armies, sign treaties, decide who lives and who dies with a stroke of a quill. Feels intoxicating, does not it? But in the shadows, your advisors tally your mistakes, your nobles compare your victories with their own ambitions, and your servants, oh, do not forget the servants, carry every secret you thought was safe. Absolute power does not just corrupt. It also attracts corruption like flies to honey. And here's a little science for you. Psychologists say humans are wired for envy. In a royal court, envy becomes a weapon sharper than any sword. So while you smile from the throne, someone in the room is calculating how much better the crown would look on their head. It is not paranoia if history proves it true. So here's the question for you. If power gave you everything, luxury, fame, immortality in the pages of history, would you still accept it, knowing that the higher you rise, the sharper the knives waiting below? If there is one universal truth about royal courts, it is this: betrayal never happens in broad daylight. It lurks in whispers, in secret meetings behind velvet curtains, in letters written in invisible ink. The daggers aimed at you are rarely carried in the open. They are hidden behind smiles, folded into polite bows, or tucked away in sweet promises. Welcome to the shadow game of the court. History gives us endless case studies. Take the Byzantine Empire, where poisoning became such a fine art that even the cooks were often part-time assassins. Or the Tudor court, where gossip could kill faster than a blade. And do not forget the Medici of Renaissance Italy, who could make betrayal look like an elegant dance step. It was not just who had the army, it was who had the cleverest scheme. And schemes, as history loves to remind us, do not make noise until it is too late. Now imagine yourself at the center of this web. You think you are the spider spinning threads of control, but in reality you might be the fly. The advisor who praises your wisdom in public might be plotting your removal in private. The general who swears loyalty may already be negotiating with your enemies. Even the court jester, yes, the funny guy in the hat with bells, might be delivering jokes that double as coded messages. Who knew comedy could kill? There is also something eerily scientific here. Political science calls it the problem of trust. The more power you hold, the less you can trust anyone around you. Because everyone benefits more from betraying you than staying loyal. It is like playing chess, except all the pawns secretly wish they were queens. Spoiler alert. They do not plan on waiting politely for promotion. And then, of course, comes the mystical side. Ancient lore tells of shadows that could take human form, whispering treachery into the ears of kings and queens. What if those shadows still linger in the palace walls, guiding your courtiers toward betrayal? Maybe it is not just greed. Maybe it is something darker that thrives on lies. Either way, as queen, you would better learn to see in the dark or risk being devoured by it. The feast is over, the music has faded, and the castle lies in uneasy silence. Outside, the moon glows pale against the stone towers, casting long shadows across the courtyard. Inside your chambers, you finally let the crown rest on the table. But just as you exhale, you hear it, a muffled step, a whisper not meant for your ears, the scrape of steel in the dark. This is no ordinary night. This is the night of betrayal. In history, such moments were rarely dramatic declarations. They were quiet, surgical. Richard II of England was seized in the dead of night, dragged from his throne by men who had once sworn fealty. In France, monarchs were overthrown not with a roar, but with a quiet knock on the chamber door. Power does not vanish in battle. It slips away while you are still wearing your nightgown. Now place yourself here. You rise from bed, silk robe brushing the cold stone floor, as you realize the guards outside your door are not guarding you anymore. They are guarding against you. That chill down your spine, that is the realization that the kingdom is not yours tonight. Your most trusted advisor gone. Your general missing. Your court silent. Even the torchlight flickers like it is unsure which side it serves. Creepy, right? Science calls this moment a fight or flight response. Your body surges with adrenaline. Your heartbeat pounds. Your pupils widen. Your brain is screaming, survive. But here's the catch, where does a queen run to? You can't exactly sneak out in jeans and a hoodie. Your silk gown and jewels are basically neon signs saying, "Here I am." Unless you are ready to sprint barefoot through the mud, survival suddenly feels like a luxury. And yet, there is also something strangely mystical in this darkness. Ancient texts warned of betrayal nights, moments when fate itself turned against rulers. Maybe it is not just politics. Maybe the stars above align to mark this as your downfall. Or maybe it is simply the universe teaching you a cosmic joke, that even queens should have packed a go-bag. Survival is not just about swords and shields, it is about the mind. Psychologists say the human brain in crisis shifts into overdrive, your senses sharpen, time feels slower. And even the faintest creak of a floorboard sounds like thunder. As queen on the night of betrayal, this is your only advantage. Every flicker of a torch, every glance from a servant, becomes data your brain desperately tries to decode. But science also tells us stress clouds judgment. The more afraid you are, the more likely you will trust the wrong person or ignore the one chance that could save your life. History offers brutal lessons. Mary, Queen of Scots, trusted too many allies and ended up a prisoner. Marie Antoinette ignored warning signs until it was too late. Meanwhile, Elizabeth I survived by mastering paranoia, never eating without tasters, never trusting without double-checking. Survival as a ruler is not about bravery. It is about calculating who will betray you first and staying one step ahead. But survival is not purely rational. Mysticism has always shadowed royalty. Ancient Egyptians consulted oracles before making decisions. Medieval queens carried talismans, believing charms could deflect poison or betrayal. In some Asian dynasties, astrologers dictated which nights were safe to act and which foretold doom. Imagine standing in your chamber, clutching a silver amulet your mother gave you, whispering a prayer to gods you are not even sure exist. Science can measure adrenaline, but it can't explain why faith sometimes steadies the shaking hand. Now picture yourself faced with a choice. The stars outside glow brighter than usual, omen or coincidence. Your advisor urges you to flee. Your instincts scream to stay. Do you listen to reason, to faith, or to fear? The funny thing is, survival is never as glamorous as movies make it look. It is not a glorious duel. It is hiding in a laundry cart, or sprinting barefoot across the courtyard, hoping no one notices the royal behind is on the run. Still, the question lingers: if you were queen, would you gamble on logic, on superstition, or on sheer dumb luck to see the sunrise? So now the question becomes personal. If it were you, sitting on that throne while the court sharpened its daggers behind your back, what would you do? Would you run, abandoning the palace for the safety of anonymity, or would you stand and fight, even if the odds were stacked against you? It is easy to say you would be brave. But bravery is a lot harder when your crown doubles as a bullseye. Picture this: you have one night to decide your fate. Do you disguise yourself as a servant and slip out the back gates, hoping no one notices the royal perfume still clinging to your clothes? Or do you gather the few loyal guards you still trust and prepare for a last stand in the throne room, knowing history might remember you as either a martyr or a fool? It is not just survival, it is legacy. And let us be honest, modern instincts would kick in. Maybe you would wish for a cell phone to call an Uber out of the castle, or at least Google how to escape betrayal in medieval times. Too bad Wi-Fi is about 600 years away. Instead, you are left with your wits, your courage, and the sneaking suspicion that the guy who refills your wine goblet is also working for the enemy. History shows both paths. Some rulers vanished into exile, living in quiet obscurity while their empires burned without them. Others fought to the bitter end, sometimes winning, often losing, but always leaving a story behind. The uncomfortable truth is that there is no single right choice. Flight gives you life, fight gives you honor. Which one would you choose? And maybe that is the point. Maybe betrayal is the ultimate mirror, reflecting not who your courtiers are, but who you are when everything is stripped away. So, if you were queen, betrayed by your court, would you cling to survival at all costs, or would you gamble it all for the chance to rewrite your story? And so, our tale draws to a close. From glittering banquets to whispered conspiracies, from the thrill of power to the terror of betrayal, you have walked through the life of a queen whose crown became her curse. History teaches us that betrayal is timeless. It does not care if you wear silk robes or business suits. Whether in a medieval palace or a modern boardroom, the knives are always sharp and loyalty is always fragile. But here's the strange beauty of it. Betrayal may break you, yet it also defines you. Some rulers were remembered for how they lost everything. Others were immortalized for how they faced their enemies with unshakable defiance. Survival and honor rarely come together, but both can leave a legacy. The question is, what kind of legacy would you leave? As you think about that, remember this: every queen in history was human before she was royal. Fear, hope, love, doubt, they carried all of it beneath the crown. And so would you. Perhaps that is why stories of queens and betrayal still captivate us today, because they are not just about power, they are about the choices we would make if power was suddenly ours. So now it is your turn. If you were queen, betrayed by your own court, what would you do? Would you fight to the bitter end, or disappear into the shadows to survive another day? Tell me in the comments. I would love to know what kind of queen you think you would be. And of course, if you enjoyed this journey through history, myth, and imagination, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more. Until next time, guard your crown well. You never know who is watching.